What if I told you that a massive 82% of cars on the road right now will never make it past the 150,000-mile mark, yet my own daily driver crossed well over 500,000 miles on the original engine and transmission? Let me be perfectly clear right up front. It absolutely was not luck. Engines do not just randomly die from old age or high mileage. They die from silent everyday habits and neglected maintenance that the automotive industry deliberately never talks about. Dealerships want you back in the showroom buying a new car every 5 years, which is exactly why their maintenance schedules are designed to get you past the factory warranty period and not a single mile further. Today, I am going to walk you through the brutally honest, mechanic-approved reality of what it actually takes to push your car well beyond the 500,000-mile mark. We're going to completely change how you look at vehicle longevity. Whatever you do, pay close attention when we get to the gas station habits, because one tiny mistake there causes the most expensive and frustrating failure your car can suffer. Let us get straight to the garage floors. Truths with the biggest lies currently circulating in the automotive world, and that is the concept of lifetime transmission fluid. You will look in the owner manual of modern cars and see that the manufacturer claims the automatic transmission fluid never needs to be changed. That is a marketing gimmick, not mechanical reality. When they say lifetime, they strictly mean the lifetime of the factory powertrain warranty. Inside your automatic transmission, extreme friction and heat are constantly degrading the chemical properties of that fluid. The internal clutch packs shed microscopic material, and over time, that pristine red fluid turns into a dark, gritty, abrasive mess. Over 60% of catastrophic transmission failures are directly caused by severely degraded fluid. If you want that gearbox to survive, you need to ignore the manual and drain and fill that automatic transmission fluid every 30,000 to 50,000 miles. And a quick warning here, never let a quick lube shop hook up a high-pressure flush machine to a neglected transmission. Those machines dislodge years of built-up metal shavings and force them directly into the sensitive valve body, essentially destroying the transmission on the spot. Always insist on a simple gravity drain and fill. Before we completely tear down the myth of the 10,000-mile oil change and get into the heavy engine diagnostics, if you are serious about keeping your car out of the repair shop and your money in your pocket, hit that subscribe button right now so we can keep bringing you real automotive truth. Speaking of marketing myths that destroy engines, let us talk about the 10,000-mile engine oil change interval. This is an absolute disaster for internal combustion engines. Dealerships push this extended interval to make the cost of ownership look significantly cheaper on paper when you are sitting at the sales desk. But here is the data they hide from you. Independent laboratory analysis shows up to 40% more internal engine wear occurs when you push your oil past 5,000 miles. The oil breaks down, loses its viscosity, and turns into thick sludge. If you are driving something with complex variable valve timing, like the Vanos system in a BMW E46 or E90, that dirty oil is a death sentence. Those Vanos solenoids and cam phasers rely entirely on clean, highly pressurized engine oil to advance and retard the engine timing. When sludge builds up, the solenoids clog, the timing chain guides get starved of lubrication, and eventually, the heavy-duty timing chain stretches or snaps. You are instantly looking at a $3,000 engine repair. The golden rule is incredibly simple. Change your synthetic oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Use 5 weight 30 in hot climates and 0 weight 20 in freezing winter weather. And never skip replacing the high-quality oil filter. We also need to address how you are treating the engine right after you turn the key in the morning. There is a huge misconception that you need to let your car sit and idle in the driveway for 10 minutes to warm up before you leave. Extended cold idling is actually terrible for your cylinders. When the engine is freezing cold, the computer commands a very rich fuel mixture to keep it running smoothly. Because the engine is just sitting there at idle, it takes forever to heat up, meaning that rich mixture of raw liquid gasoline is constantly washing the protective oil film right off the cylinder walls. The Department of Energy literally found that extended cold idling causes 66% more wear on critical engine components. The correct method is to let the car idle for just 20 to 30 seconds, enough time for the oil pump to push fluid to the top of the cylinder head, and then drive the car gently. Keep the RPMs low for the first few miles. The engine will reach operating temperature much faster under a light load, protecting those expensive internals. Let us shift gears and look at the fuel system, specifically a massive issue with modern engine architectures. If you drive a newer car, or something like a Volkswagen Passat B-Series, or an early Ford F-150 EcoBoost, you likely have gasoline direct injection. GDI engines are incredibly efficient, but they have a fatal flaw. Unlike older engines where the fuel injectors sprayed gasoline directly over the intake valves, constantly washing them clean with detergents, GDI engines spray fuel straight into the combustion chamber. This means the back of your intake valves never get cleaned. Over time, thick, hardened carbon deposits build up heavily on those valves, severely choking the engine of air. You can lose up to 10% of your total horsepower and torque by the time you hit 50,000 miles. The engine will idle rough and hesitate when you step on the gas. Pouring cleaner in the gas tank does absolutely nothing to fix this because the fuel never touches the valves. You have to physically clean them using a process called walnut blasting every 40,000 to 60,000 miles. It is a necessary maintenance step that keeps GDI engines breathing right. We are about to cover the single most expensive mistake almost every driver makes at the gas pump. But before I reveal exactly how you are destroying your emission system, take a second to hit subscribe so you do not miss the specific fixes that actually keep your daily driver on the road. When you are standing at the gas station and the pump handle clicks off automatically, you squeeze handle a few more times just to round up the dollar amount or to get those last few drops of fuel into the tank. You need to stop doing that immediately. That extra squeezing forces raw liquid gasoline down the ventilation tube and floods your particles. Evaporative emissions system. Specifically, it completely saturates the charcoal canister. This canister is packed with highly sensitive activated charcoal pellets designed to capture and hold harmful fuel vapors so they do not pollute the air. When you soak those pellets with raw liquid fuel, they break apart and the entire unit is permanently ruined. Your check engine light will immediately come on with a gross evap leak code, replacing that charcoal canister, the vent valves, and the purge solenoids is an absolute nightmare that will easily cost you anywhere from $400 to $1,200 at a shop, and no warranty will ever cover it because it is considered user error. The rule is absolute. When the gas pump clicks off the very first time, you are done. Pull the nozzle out and drive away. While we are talking about the fuel system, you need to understand how your main fuel pump actually survives. Pre-high pressure fuel pump sits completely submerged inside the plastic gas tank under your back seat. That pump motor generates a massive amount of heat while it operates, and it relies entirely on the surrounding liquid gasoline to act as a cooling thermal heat sink. When you constantly drive around with the low fuel light glaring at you on the dashboard, that pump motor is exposed to dry air. It overheats quickly, the internal copper windings degrade, and the pump fails 30% faster than it normally would. Dropping a gas tank to replace a burnt-out fuel pump is a labor-intensive, miserable job. Follow the quarter tank rule. The second your gas gauge hits the quarter mark, treat it exactly like it is completely empty and go fill up. This one habit alone will make your fuel pump last the entire lifetime of the vehicle. Another hidden mechanical killer is how you handle your transmission when parking or shifting. See people doing rolling shifts all the time. They are backing out of a driveway, and while the car is still physically rolling backwards, they slam the shifter from reverse straight into drive. This forces the delicate internal transmission gear sets and friction clutch packs to physically stop the heavy momentum of the vehicle. Taking one single second to press the brake pedal and come to a complete dead stop before shifting gears will easily add years to the life of your transmission. The same logic applies when you park the car on an incline. If you just shove the gear selector into park and take your foot off the brake, the entire heavy weight of the vehicle rolls forward and rests entirely on a tiny piece of metal inside the transmission called the parking pawl. When you come back and try to shift out of park, you will feel a massive, hard clunk that violently shakes the car. The correct sequence to protect your transmission is to keep your foot firmly on the brake, pull the handbrake up tight, let the car settle its weight completely onto the rear brakes. Then shift the transmission into the park position. This reduces wear on the internal parking pawl by 70%. You also cannot ignore the fluids that keep everything operating smoothly, specifically your brake fluid and engine coolant. Brake fluid is highly hygroscopic, which is a technical way of saying it actively absorbs moisture out of the air. Over time, this trapped water drastically lowers the boiling point of the fluid. If you are doing heavy braking down a steep mountain pass, the heat from the rotors transfers to the calipers. The water in the fluid boils into steam, and your brake pedal will instantly drop straight to the floorboard with zero stopping power. Not only that, but that moisture causes catastrophic rust inside your expensive anti-lock braking system pump. You must flush your brake fluid completely every 2 to 3 years regardless of your mileage. Coolant is just as critical. Over time, the anti-corrosion additives break down, and the liquid actually becomes highly acidic. This acidic coolant slowly eats away at the thin aluminum cylinder head and completely degrades the head gasket material. Ignoring old, sludgy brown coolant increases your risk of a blown head gasket by 40%. Flush the radiator and engine block every 30,000 to 50,000 miles to keep the internal water jackets perfectly clean. Finally, we need to completely change how you approach engine diagnostics. Stop blindly throwing expensive parts at your car, hoping to fix a rough idle or a check engine light. Dealerships love it when you guess, because you end up buying an airflow sensor, then an oxygen sensor, and then a set of ignition coils, wasting hundreds of dollars. The smartest thing you can do for your vehicle is to buy a quality next-generation OBD2 scanner. When a warning light pops up, plug the scanner directly into the port under your steering wheel. Look at the live data streams and the specific fault codes. If you have an engine misfire code on cylinder 3, do not just buy all new fuel injectors. Read the data. It could simply be a bad electrical ground wire, causing voltage drops to that specific coil. Pack. A staggering 30% of all modern electrical and sensor failures are completely resolved by just taking a wire brush to a corroded ground strap on the chassis. A $12 can of electronics cleaner and a wire brush can easily prevent a $900 diagnostic goose chase at the mechanic. These specific calculated habits are exactly what turns an average throwaway vehicle into a reliable machine, capable of hitting 300,000, 500,000, or even 700,000 miles without a major engine rebuild. All about outsmarting the planned obsolescence and treating the mechanical components with respect. I want to hear exactly what is sitting in your garage right now. Drop down into the comments and tell me the current mileage on your car, what your exact oil change interval is, and what specific OBD2 fault codes are driving you crazy right now. If even one of these garage secrets saved your engine or protected your wallet, today, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and do not miss our next deep dive where we tear apart the industry lies holding your car back.